Ariel Helwani, being joined once again for the first time in a very long time by the one and only Nathan Diaz. Last time I spoke to him, September of 2019, in an empty Madison Square Garden. He hasn't done much media, if any media, since November of 2019. So it's always a pleasure to talk to the one and only Nathan Diaz. Here he is in the flesh. How are you, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to talk to you. And actually, I kind of want to start there. You haven't talked to anyone. We didn't see you in 2020. In your opinion, what's been the reason for your absence from the UFC? Of course, last time we saw you was 244 at MSG, but now we've gone a full year since your last fight. And like I said, you haven't done any media or anything like that. Why have you been away for so long?
I was just initially I was looking to do a rematch for my last fight, but they never pulled the trigger on that. So I kind of figured out what was going on, and then COVID hit, and I was like seeing the whole world slow down from COVID, and I was like, all right, why ain't it slowing down? So I was trying to train and get ready for a fight, but I didn't feel like much was going on. Nobody was doing much. So then I sat around for a couple months, and then I got remotivated. I motivated. It was kind of like year. I didn't want to fight with the mask on and all that. So I just watched that year fly by. But I was training the whole time. So here I am. There was nothing to talk about.
Considering how 2019 went with the Pettis win, and how big the Masvidal fight was at MSG, sold out main event. Were you disappointed? Were you frustrated? Of course, no one could predict COVID, but were you frustrated that you were inactive after a year like that?
Yeah, I was ready to keep the show going for sure. It's not what I like to do. So I like to be active, and after taking the 3 years off before that, I wanted to get active the whole time, but there was also nothing really going on. And for me, anyways, and as soon as I got going, I already knew I want to stay active because it's what I do and what I have done my whole career, and it works better that way.
Considering how the Masvidal fight went and ended and what was said afterwards, how disappointed are you that it doesn't seem like that's in the cards right now? Because it did seem for a moment in the fall like they were going in that direction, and then they moved on, it seems now, to the Covington fight. How do you feel about that?
Those guys are all pretty played out to me. I really don't pay no more attention to that no more. It's kind of it's what I wanted initially, but these guys went their own ways. They did whatever they thought they were going to do, and I thought that was kind of whack. So I was looking for something bigger and better.
Okay, so you've moved on.
Long time ago, for sure.
Okay. Did you watch the Dustin Poirier Conor McGregor rematch a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, I watched it.
Everything okay? Do you need something?
I was looking for my phone. What they were always saying, the Dustin Poirier. Yeah. And
okay, so you watched it. What did you think of the fight?
I think it was this chair right here steals the ball every time, man. It falls in the thing. I thought that it was I thought Dustin Poirier was pretty owned the whole way through, and I think Conor dropped the ball. I thought it was I thought that was it was kind of playing into I just thought it was a big old joke, honestly. He was switching up his whole role and playing Mr. Nice Guy, but he was owning Dustin the way Dustin was just doing what he's told the whole way through. It was just kind of corny, kind of funny to me. And then I think Conor had it going, but then I think he fell back to his same ways and went in there. I think he f***ed up more than Dustin did anything good,
Really?
I think it was less of Dustin doing anything great and more of Conor up. That's my personal opinion. I think he was landing shots it looked pretty in the bag to me.
Leading up to the fight?
No, I'm talking about the fight now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought he.
What could he have done differently?
Conor.
Yeah.
I think he still makes the same mistakes he always has. I think. Remember when I got into it with dude about Conor because he was saying how good Conor did with Mayweather.
Mm-hmm.
When Brendan was talking about how good Conor did with Mayweather, and he like, you don't think he did good, and he was all up Conor's ass, and I was like, I think he did horrible. I think he did exactly what these boxers and I and everybody thought he would do. He went in there, made him punch himself out, and got knocked out. He didn't learn from what happened when I fought him, because they still, I think Floyd Mayweather and then watch the blueprint right there on how to beat him. They're like, okay, go make him punch himself out and then finish him off. So right when that fight started, the Mayweather fight, that's exactly what was happening. He's gonna make him punch himself, because that's not how Mayweather fights. He ran up on him like how I ran up on him, made him punch himself out, finish him off, and Conor took the bait. So I didn't think he did a good job at all. And the whole world was telling talking about how good he did in the fight, because he threw hard punches and stuff, and made it 11 rounds. Floyd Mayweather is smaller, and that's how you do it. You go out there and you make a guy do what he already did. He just lost to me like that, so he went out there, pushed the pace, and made him did exactly what the game plan was. And then Conor just went in there, took the bait, and so Conor did that with me. That's what first exposed him. Then he did it with Mayweather, and then who else? He did okay. He tried to make it last against Khabib the best he could. Khabib still couldn't do. You know what I'm saying? Took 4.5 rounds to finish him off, and then it took how long? Was that in the 5th round?
No, fourth.
Yeah, it took him 4 rounds to finish him off, and that's whatever. That's beside the point. But then he went and fought Dustin, and he landed all good shots. He's dropping combos on him, and I think he was pushing the pace too hard, like he had it in the bag, and he went in there and he's throwing the hard shots and went in there. He should have slowed it down. And this happens because he don't want to be in there too. He's anxious for the kill because he wants out. Like he should have slowed it down a little bit, and then he didn't. He pushed the pace and he got caught slipping. He started getting, and the leg thing was a factor. But come on, you were the whole time. I think that's just that's what I think of that fight.
You don't feel like he wants to be in there anymore?
Who?
Well, you said that he was.
Yeah, I'm just talking about at the time as far as the fight. He wanted to get it done and get out.
Right.
Like, I have a lot of fights where I don't even plan on going in there and knock them out. I don't just go in there and knock people out anyway. So I plan on going in there and having a fight. I don't try to push the pace and then up in the process,
Mm-hmm.
And that's why no one's got no finishes over me, because I'm in it for the whole run, the whole long run, my whole career. I'll be here forever. And then as far as the fights, I'm like, I plan on being in there the whole time until they're done. So I think that's like, I don't know. I think that's a weakness.
So after the fight, sometimes you don't really do this. That's why I think it was noteworthy. You made it very clear that you finally want that fight against Dustin Poirier, the fight that was supposed to happen a couple of years ago.
Yeah, now is the time for sure to fight. We should have fought a long time ago, and now the stars are aligned.
Why do you feel that way?
Well, because you just want to fight. It's like that's the fight. So I'm waiting for a fight where people are ready for the big fight, and now's the time.
And I want to be clear about this because there was some talk. I think Dana White told a few media outlets that they offered you something at 155. But it sounds to me, correct me if I'm wrong, you don't have interest in fighting at 155, right? You want to fight at
No,
170?
yeah, no, I'm done with. I'm not fighting at 155. Fight probably at 170, 165, anything to 185, not 155. But that's a dead division. So I'm not I don't have nothing I'm hunting in that division. No, nothing I'm aiming for. I feel like I own it already. So I'll probably fight at 170 pounds.
Okay. So if they came to you right now and said, all right, Mr. Diaz, what do you want? You're saying 170 Dustin Poirier. Is that accurate?
That's what I would like right now, yeah. And I think it's time for that fight for sure.
It's crazy. Exactly 1 year ago, Dustin tweeted this, spoke with the UFC last night. You going to take the fight at Nate Diaz, 209, 170 pounds, May in California or July International Fight Week. Come get this work. Exactly 1 year ago. Pretty crazy. Shout out to my colleague, Mark Ramundi, for letting me know about that. So do you feel like this is something that he's interested in? Are you getting that vibes? Or are you feeling that the UFC is interested in this?
I believe they should be. And what else is he going to do?
The Conor trilogy would obviously be the one that, people would bring up and the one that Conor's pushing for right now, but nothing's done. Why do you feel like...
How are you going to just give that to him? You know what I'm saying? He should be learning from what happened in the past. That what they're trying to do is bring him back from the dead again. That's what they do. You're going to bring him back from the dead for them. Like, I don't think you can pay me enough money to do like that anymore. I feel like there's that. If that's what he want to do, that's whatever. But like, why? No, what I'm trip off out of too is the rematch. Like, I've got they always try to roast my record too. I got 11 losses. I know they want to talk about how I got all these losses, right? And I try to rematch all those losses. Never was it even considered or talked about. Like, don't even ask, you lost. I know that I'm all 95% are all decision losses that were hardly lost. And most of them I won. So why was it so out of the question for my rematch, for me to have a rematch with somebody, But this guy gets finished by me, he gets rematch. He gets finished by Khabib. They're trying to build him the whole fight off of this. That's important for a rematch for him and Khabib. And then he lost to him at another time of rematch. This guy just gets rematches. That's crazy to me. And I think Conor does great and does his thing, but it's all about timing. And like I said, the stars are aligned right now, dog. It's time for something different. You're just gonna keep that show going for them. That's cool if that's what you're gonna do. But if I hop right back up in there fight, and they play it like that too, like where it's like, you don't want to fight him again. Like, hell yeah, I'll fight him again. But that's just a trick they pull up, a manipulation factor they got. I don't know. I'll go on all day about that. But then he got finished off. Why should anybody get a rematch? You get finished off hella quick. That's crazy.
Could I ask, just because you're bringing it up, like, is this something that bothers you? Do you like? Are you upset about the fact that you gave him that immediate rematch 5 years ago? Because it sounds like that's what you're talking about. Like,
well, I'm just saying, like, it was everything was for him and in his favor, and it could have, like, what Khabib's doing right now is what I probably should have done, and they learned that from me not doing that too. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They're hiding in the hills, like, that's all. It's his biggest accomplishment, so he's hiding out. I was like not gonna do that. I ain't no punk. You know what I'm saying? I know that he took a fight with me on 12-day notice too. You know what I'm saying? He was training for somebody else. So I felt like it's time for me I'll rematch him because for one, I don't think he could beat me ever. And for two, I don't even think he did beat me anyway. So that's why I don't even be sweating that rematch either. Mm-hmm. And, I'm sure we probably will fight one day eventually too. But at the time right now is not the time. You've been finished off left and right. I might have to go get finished a few times before we fight again. you know. And when the time is right, the time is right. But I think now is the time for bigger, better stuff to go on, different stuff. And Dustin Poirier was already supposed to fight me anyway, so and he didn't make it. He pulled his ass out.
Do you think he wants to fight you now?
I don't think he does. No, you might say that he does, but I don't think he does.
Why not?
Because I'm not gonna play nice guy like how Conor McGregor just did with him. They had that Conor put himself right, just made him walked him right in for the taking, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that a fight with me would be more real, more serious situation for him, and I don't think he would get. I don't think he can sleep with that.
And so, you know, it's interesting because I don't know if you noticed this as well, but like that fight happens, you're mentioned in the Conor post fight, you're mentioned in the Dustin Poirier post fight. Justin Gaethje is talking about you. Like all these top guys, Tony Ferguson is talking about you. You haven't fought since November of 2009. What is your reaction when you see this? Like, hey, I haven't fought in over a year, and all the top guys are talking about me, and in some respects, calling me out as well.
Yeah, because I never lost a fight like all these guys. The whole lightweight division been taken out. All, you know what I'm saying? Every single one of them. Except for, what's his name, who just beat Ferguson?
Yeah. Oliveira.
Yeah, that's the guy right there. I'll fight that guy. That's what I'll fight.
You like that fight?
I like guys. I like the winners. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a winner. I ain't been lost to nobody. You know, I got the few guys that I lost that they would say finish me out. First of all, I never got finished off like everybody else. Like KO, knocked on the ass, sleeping, unconscious, choked out. None of that's happened to me. You know, so I'm like, I'm trying to fight the guys who are winning.
But he's a 55er. Would you fight him at 55, or would he have to go up to 170?
Yeah, no, I'm fight at 55.
But you'd be down with that.
I the guy at 172, but there ain't nobody at 170. That whole division's all. When those guys grow up, I'll fight somebody at 170. But the 55 division has some guys in there, but it's like I like Oliveira fight or Dustin Poirier fight probably.
Well, there is a 55er who asked you to fight at 170 recently, Tony Ferguson. Have you seen his comments, and if so, what do you make of them?
Yeah, no, I like Tony Ferguson. He's been around a long time, like I have too. But time is not right. Right now is not the time for.
Okay.
Yeah, he just lost to Oliveira. That's who I like to fight.
Okay, so you're not interested right now.
Yeah, I think Oliveira is the best fight right now, and Dustin Poirier.
You mentioned on Instagram recently that you're one of the last of the real martial artists. For those that may not understand what you mean by that, could you explain?
Yeah, I'm just like, how come these guys are all getting finished? You know, it's a part of war. It's the main objective in war is like go out there and come back home.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys all get finished off, and it irritates me too. Like Conor McGregor just got finished, right?
Mm-hmm.
And his big fight, his huge thing. He's the best in the world. He's gonna get a rematch. He's gonna go and all this funny. It's like, well, you just got finished off. Like that's like that. You know, and you got what happens when they finish when these guys get finished, like people always talk to, they'll be like, what do they say? He's a 500 fighter, he's a journeyman. They say like that about me. I'm like, you guys are haters. For one, I was here before all of you even got here. I was here first, fighting, putting on fighting nights. You guys all grew up on me straight up. And then for two, all this time and all my records that you guys talking about, that I have a record. Guess what? You guys all got finished on your face, choked out, knocked out, up all over the place, right? But I'll take 100 of my losses before I take one of those losses, straight up. So that's what I mean when I'm talking about real martial artists. So you can't even make it home with family, dog. How you gonna be the the best of the greatest. And when you get finished off like that, that doesn't drop you down. In the ranking system is a control issue too. It's like that doesn't drop you down 2 spots in the rankings. You got choked out. You got knocked out. You just lost 15 spots. And then they still try to talk about me and my record. I'm like, ain't no one finished me off, dog. I'm still gonna be here till the end of time. I'm telling you, I'm hard to kill, not like the rest of these guys.
What do you think of Khabib's decision to walk away?
I think it's smart for him. He don't like to fight. And that's why I'm not going to 155. That's supposed to be the champion.
What makes you say that he doesn't like to fight?
Why'd he run for the hills?
Family, right? 29-0. Maybe didn't feel like there were any challenges. I don't know. I mean,
because he was above everybody, right? That's what he said.
Well, the way they positioned Dana White's
man, DC, your boy DC over here too.
What about him?
You remember when he put his little list together and you guys?
Oh yeah. You didn't like.
He's about taking a call real quick. DC, you know what you talking about, dog? Yeah, no. First of all, it's like, why do you think I took 3 years off? Why do you think I was out for 3 years? I'm above all that too. It's like, and now he's out there. He's like, thank God I found an easy out. But I wasn't in either because there was nothing to do yet. Like, and the only difference is they say they got me to rematch because I ain't no punk, and then they got me to rematch, and then I was and then they played me like I lost, and then I was out a bitter loser. I was like, nah, I'm just gonna hold up till somebody does something, but nobody ever did anything really.
You think he comes back?
Oh,
Khabib?
Oh, probably, yeah. He's just waiting for somebody to beg for him to come back.
But that's not one you're interested in because you were at one point.
Yeah, when the time was right, but like, let me tell you the little history for me and Khabib, right? Remember, and then nowadays when I'm like, this fool got slapped, and then everybody starts tweeting to me and telling me about how Dana White said Nate turned down Khabib fight, right?
Mm-hmm.
In 2014 or something. Anyway, I had just fought Ben Henderson for a title, and I was pissed about a contract I signed. I already had 20 fights in UFC. I had like the most fight of the nights and all this stuff. I was like one of the most popular fighters in the UFC way back then. And then after that fight, they're calling me like, "Hey, do you want to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov?" And I was like, "Who the hell is that?" And we looked him up, and he's got all these fights that are the same fights he's doing nowadays. Grab somebody to hold him down, some boring ass fighter who's got 2 fights in the UFC. So I was like, why wouldn't I take this fight? I just fought for a title. You know, I didn't even not take that fight. I didn't know. I want somebody better than that. And then they blasted that I didn't want the fight. So whatever went on, a couple years went on. Then I'm at World Series of Fighting where I'm watching Jake fight, and they're acting like he's some great happy-go-lucky guy. Some great. He's a jock, dude. He's with his team making fun of me, trying to pick on me and start a fight with me. So I finished the fight right there. And then when I started calling for the fight, he didn't want the fight. So he's the only one who turned down the fight and didn't want the fight. And then Conor too, after he lost to Khabib, they started hitting us up too, like, yo, we want you to fight Conor. I'm like, oh, so I'm supposed to bring Conor back from the dead? I'll fight Khabib. He just won. Mm-hmm. So now Khabib's too big to fight me because of whatever, you know? And now I've done everything I could do. I'm above everybody. I'm out. I'm everything else. I'm like, what? That's why I don't fight at 155. The champ's a bitch, and the whole division's been finished, killed off. And who the hell knows who anybody is at 170? There's nothing there, so.
You're not excited about Usman Burns this weekend?
Not interested in that fight either. So they haven't done anything good either.
teammate versus teammate, all
Yeah,
that
that's
stuff.
the worst. Yeah. Remember the teammate stuff, right? That's a fake fight. Nah, I'm cool off of that fight too. Those guys are gonna kill themselves off. I had
One guy
friends
that,
talking about I'm at the end of my career or something. I'm like, bro, you just
yeah.
got here the other day. You just got here the other day, and now you're fighting your teammate.
Could you clear up the Dan Hooker Burns thing? I think Burns thought that you were calling him out, but weren't you calling out Dan Hooker at the time, or at least interested in
I
Dan
was
Hooker?
really, yeah, I was interested in fighting Hooker for sure. I think Hooker's a good fighter, and he's a real fighter. He had a hard fight the other day, and I imagine that's how that fight. I was talking to my boys before that fight, and I was like, the fight's probably he's gonna win. He's gonna do his thing and run this guy over slowly but surely. But if not, Chandler's gonna run out and do some quick, fast twitchy, get a just like the fight went is what I expected, and I did. So that was that was a sad day for Burn or for Hooker, but I was gunning for Hooker in that fight.
What do you think of Chandler?
Chandler, I don't really know much about him. He's new and he kind of a goofy.
Why?
Nah, he's cool. He's doing his thing. What did he just do? He did like some WWE at the end of his fight.
That's right. Oh man, it's so
cool.
Yeah, speaking of which,
Yeah,
one guy who's been aggressively calling you out is Jake Paul.
Jake Paul.
Yeah, what do you make of that? Is that something that interests you? A boxing match against Jake Paul?
Nah, not at the moment, no, but at some point for sure.
Do you think he beats Ben Askren?
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think one thing he has to understand is that he's fighting Ben Askren. What do you mean by that? That's a different type of boxing match than he's probably going to be used to. So he better bring some goofy, unorthodox wrestlers to spar with, because sometimes those are harder fights just because they're unorthodox and you don't know what to expect coming from a boxing point of view. I would expect a Ben Askren, but could be tough, could be easy. Who knows? That's what makes it kind of interesting.
A few weeks ago, you tweeted something about him that, like, you know, if he doesn't stop talking, he might get it.
Someone's gonna fuck him up. Yeah, he was just talking some serious fighting words to he's talking to Conor, right?
Yep. And he also talked about you, right?
Yeah, but when I said something was because he was talking about
okay.
Conor, right? So I was like, oh, there's some real fine words for a guy who's already signed a fight in a real fight, and you're challenging to a boxing match with fighting words.
Mm-hmm.
And no one's gonna speak up, and and even Conor's like probably don't want to give him no clout for, and he's tuned into what he's doing. I like someone needs to tell this guy to shut up. So I mean, I wasn't trying to have nobody's back, but just from a real perspective, it's like, bro, we're you're talking fine words. It don't make no sense when people do that. It's like talking like that, challenging somebody to a basketball match. You know, boxing is just boxing. It's only a piece of a fight, and you're talking like dirty. So it's like someone's gonna you up if you don't watch it.
He is opening up the fight game and even now going after MMA fighters to a whole new world where there is some money to be made. Could I ask, like, when would a Nathan Diaz be able to explore a potential Jake Paul fight or a boxing match? I know you've talked about this for a very long time, Canelo, names like that. In other words, when are you free? When can you be free?
Yeah, sometime eventually, but we'll see what happens with all that anyway. I want to get some MMA fights cracking right now, and then warm up, and then get that done too ASAP.
How soon would you like to fight in a perfect world?
What's the month right now?
February, early February.
I say April or May.
Okay, so pretty soon. Like you'd like a fight already, training camp, let's go.
Yeah.
Perfect world, how many times would you like to fight in 2021?
Probably 2 minimum, 4 max.
4 max, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
2 minimum.
2 minimum, 4 max. Yeah, I'm ready to get the show on the road.
How would you describe your relationship with the UFC brass right now? Like, do you feel like they want to be in business with you, give you big fights, promote you?
Yeah, I think it's the same as always, but if I get along, they get along. They get along, I get along.
Right.
So I'm just trying to get it. I'm just trying to get it going. Last year was a real bummer, sitting around, not getting that done, and partly it was the world's fault, But I'm ready to rock.
Did they offer you a name? Just a couple weeks ago when Dana said we offered him someone, but he didn't say who.
Yeah,
Did they actually?
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't know who they asked for.
So where do things stand right now? Like, are there active talks going on?
No, we haven't talked to him.
Maybe after this they'll talk to you.
Yeah, tell him to hit me up.
You want me to call Dana right now?
Yeah, hit up Ariel, hit Dana up. Tell him I'll fight Oliveira or Poirier.
Okay.
Let's get it.
At 170.
Yeah, 170, 165, 190, one anything but the 155 division.
And by the way, Nate, I gotta bring this up. USADA, I don't know if you saw this. I mean, this should be called the Diaz rule. Did you see what they did about cannabis now?
Yeah, is it all the way legit though, or what's the deal with it?
Well, it's basically, I mean, in short, they would have to prove that you used it for some kind of PED on the night. In other words, I think they're just making it like they're not saying it, but they're basically saying like there's no way that you can, get punished for this. Now in Nevada, they're still sticking to their 6-month, 9-month thing. But as far as USADA is concerned, they're pretty much taking it off the table. They'd say we would have to prove in some sort of way that you use this as a PED, which of course we all know like no one would really do that. It's almost impossible. I feel like this is vindication for you and your family. I mean, you guys have been talking about this forever.
Yeah, and
Do you feel that same way?
I already went it up anyway, but should have been legit the whole time. But yeah, at least something's moving now, and at least yeah, it should have never been a problem.
You see all these CBD companies. You see the UFC doing deals with CBD companies. Like, do you say like, oh my gosh, look how far we've come?
See what we brought y'all. You got all these fighters supporting their CBD companies.
It's amazing. By the way, I also saw, I don't know if you saw, it's been a while again since I last spoke to you. Drake, my guy Drake, did an interview and he shouted you out. Did you see that? Only one fighter. He talked about the losses thing, how he respects someone like you.
See what I'm saying? He knows exactly what. Yeah, from the GOAT, dog. That's it.
Wait, Drake's the GOAT in your opinion?
Yeah, well, there's different GOAT for different eras, I believe, but he's for sure at the moment he's the GOAT for sure.
Did you see that when he said that?
Yeah, I saw it. That's cool as hell.
That was crazy. Of all the fighters, he mentioned you to compare, like that he's taken some L's in his career. He said, but look at my guy Nate Diaz, one of my favorite fighters. That's how he put it.
That was for sure really cool. That was one of the coolest things. And you know what? Lil Wayne tweeted me too, and I still have to tell that story to all my friends. I'm like, my God, Lil Wayne is also go, but we could give him 10 years ago.
Right.
Okay. Or vice versa. He's still here too, so who knows?
How do you feel right now? Like, are you watching all the fights? How do you feel about the game? I always love to get your take on the sport and where the sport stands.
Yeah, I've been watching everything.
Everything you watch. Like you watched this past weekend?
Who fought again?
Corey Sandhagen knocked out Frankie Edgar and Dream lost to Alexander Volkov.
Yeah.
And because
I really like Frankie Edgar. I was sad that happened.
That's actually why I brought it up, because I don't know if you saw recently, there was a story about Spencer Fisher and some of the issues that he's dealing with. And because, like you said, you've been around now for a while. When you see things like that, when you see some of the OGs, if you will, some of the legends of the game, either suffer knockouts like that, or even I saw you take a picture recently with, I don't know if it was an old picture, but BJ Penn going through some.
Just saw BJ Penn the other day too.
You did see him?
It was good to see him. Yeah, BJ's the man.
What is it like for you to see some of these guys maybe going through some tough times? You haven't had to deal with that. I mean, you've enjoyed greater times in the later years of your career, which is kind of opposite from a lot of these guys. When you see that, how does it make you feel?
It's just the name of the game, though. This is the game of life. I think they'll be all right. They made it through their fight careers, and that was tough enough. So I'm sure what happens, people need something to do too. The fight, but you gotta fight. Otherwise, or you gotta compete or have something to look forward to like that. Once you've been fighting for so long, you sit around on anything else gets boring. Even if you're making all the money in the world, like Conor started him too because he didn't have to do. Get your ass back in the grind and get in a fight. Fighting solves everything.
It's like Marvin Hagler once said, right? It's hard to wake up when you're waking up in satin sheets, right? It's hard to get up early in the morning to go run when you've quote unquote made it, right? It's a different
That's what he
grind.
said.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know about all that and whatever. I think you just need to be fighting people.
You don't have satin sheets, I take it.
I don't even know what satin is. What's that?
It's a very comfortable material. It's very fancy.
Do you have that?
I do not. I haven't made it. I'm still grinding. I'm still waking up 5 a.m.
Are you at your house right now?
Yes.
You got a library in your house?
Yeah. It's just a bookshelf. Times have changed. I used to have a fancy studio. Now, because of COVID, I have to do things from my house.
Remember that time after UFC 202 when you asked me something? I was like, they let you in here.
Yes.
Remember that?
They still let me in. Could you imagine?
Yeah, I remember I was so high when that happened.
Really? After the fight?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I said it was CBD because I was like, didn't want to get in trouble.
Oh, yes, at the post-fight press conference, I remember. See, another example of how.
And then I started laughing at you, and then I was like, "Oh man, I gotta get out of here," because I was fighting. I had not been smoking weed for a couple weeks, and I was super high.
Now you don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
The Diaz rule. I'm gonna rename it the Diaz rule. I think they should give you that kind of
for sure
recognition. So
to read that Nick Diaz.
Or the Nathan Diaz. People get mad at me, by the way.
I think I get the CBD rules, and then Nick should have the cannabis, the weed. Kids.
Okay.
Did you know Geico could save you hundreds on car insurance and a whole lot more? So what are you waiting for? Hip Hop Group Tag Team to help you plan dessert?
Fresh vanilla, rocky road, chocolate peanut butter cookie dough. Scoop this.
Geico. See all the ways you could save.
That's fair.
He's the one who got suspended, and they took all the time for
5 years.
They had a bunch of other fines and time off.
Yep. By the way, I was going to mention, people get mad at me when I refer to you as Nathan, but I do it as a sign of respect. I feel like that's the proper way to refer to you. Could you let the people know that that's actually the way you prefer to be?
Hey, that's my name.
Yeah. Okay. Because they say that I'm trying to be cool or something by saying it. I'm like, no, that's actually his name. That's the way he wants to be called. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah, they only started. My name only became Nate when I went to the Ultimate Fighter, and everybody was calling me Nick. And then they'd be like, "Oh, I meant Nate. Nick. And then everybody was like, they thought they were calling me Nick.
Oh, really?
Anyways, after that, I was Nate. But everyone here at home calls me Nathan.
You ever go back and watch that season?
I was just watching it with somebody with us the other day.
Wow.
Not the whole season, but a bunch of it.
What do you think? Like when you watch that season, when you watch that kid that was on the show, what comes to mind?
I just felt like the other day for sure. It's embarrassing a little bit, but it's cool.
Do you ever watch your old fights? Like if so, like if someone was meeting you for the first time and you're like, all right, I want to see the best of, which would you put in?
I put on Josh Neer fight. Watch that fight. That's an intense fight. I could feel the feeling when I watched that fight. That's how I felt. Man, this is intense.
Is that your favorite fight?
That's one of the ones I like to watch. If I'm like, check this out. This is one time. I wonder how old I was when I was 25. And now that's my guy. Josh Neer was just up training with me the other day. That's my partner right there. And he's just still savage. We train all day when he's out there.
The dentist.
The dentist.
What do you feel? You say you still feel that feeling. What do you feel, or what did you feel?
Just watching it gives you a little nervous energy, and you're just like that because that guy was like crazy. Nick fought him for 3 rounds, and then like somebody fight Nick for 3 rounds at the time was just crazy already. Anyway, you know, you're like, damn, he made it 3 rounds, and then I was like, this guy's pissed. He probably was, yeah. Anyways, he's just a beast. So
Yep, legend.
with a real intense feeling. And he was the top guy. That's what else is crazy too when they talk about how I don't fight too. And they're like, oh, I've been top competition. Dude, I've been fighting. I remember before that fight, he was like the top guy. Him and Kurt Pellegrino.
Mhm.
And they were like top 5. And I fought somebody and I was like, no, bring me some top competition in this. And then I fought Near. And ever since then, I've always fought somebody top 10 or top 5, except for when I went to 170 for a minute. And then the guy that fought 170 became top 10 after they beat me.
Yep.
They became top 10 real quick. So I've been fighting top 10 the whole time. That's what I'm talking about. Championship weight class, wherever I'm at. That's the real championship weight class.
Are there
Ariel, it was good to see you. I have to go, dog.
Okay, all right. I just wanted to ask you one last one. One last one.
Yeah.
Before it's all said and done, is there one guy that you would love to fight, to test yourself against?
To test myself. What do you mean?
Just to compete against, to see what it's like. You know, you see that guy, you'd be like, all right, before the career is over, whenever it's over in 10, 15, 20 years, that's one guy I want in there. Maybe it's Dustin Poirier.
My next fight is gonna be I want to fight Dustin or Oliveira. Tell him to holla at me and let's get it cracking.
All right.
But the career ain't never over. We'll be here till the end of time.
I love it. Nathan, thank you. I appreciate
Hey,
your
thanks
time.
for
my man.
calling. Thanks for calling. Hopefully I'm back in the next couple months.
Okay.